Before the FSLabs and Colimata Concordes, there was the Just Flight PSS Concorde for Flight Sim 2004. In a change from the usual tutorial or review, we're just going to do a full flight in this Concorde and see what it's all about. Originally I had this plane when I was a kid, but I never really got my head around it. Now I've repurchased it as an adult and actually know what I'm doing. Hopefully we can enjoy this flight. Just like the more modern Concordes, this also features a virtual flight engineer and allows you to use the flight plan from the simulator in the Concorde's INS. I think there's also a full-featured INS if you want to set it up in that. We'll drop the nose to 5 degrees and dial in our climb altitude. So for this demo flight, we're literally doing a max climb up to 60,000 feet, where hopefully we'll be at about Mach 2. As we switch on INS or plan follow mode and set the course of destination ILS, we are pretty much ready to go. We'll just turn on the reheat on the throttle panel and get on our way. I think the visual afterburner effect is probably broken on modern machines, but the power's definitely there. Throttle's up and off we go. We haven't got anywhere near a full load of fuel, but the plane still feels quite heavy as you rotate. And as soon as we've got positive rate, the gear can come up. We'll follow the FD for climb as we switch on the autopilot, so you have to reset it to INS, and the vertical mode also goes into pitch hold, so I had to reset that to max climb as well. But this is how all Concorde sims behave. I still like to set them before flight as well, just so the vertical FD indicator is there. And you can see here that the plane has also turned to follow the INS track. Bring the nose all the way up, and we're well on our way, and we soon pass Mach 1 at about 30,000 feet. I didn't see a sonic boom effect. I don't know if that was a thing here in this old Concorde. We soon hit Mach 2 at about 50,000 feet, and the plane settles into it max cruise mode at that speed. As we start to level off, the max climb and max cruise enunciators go off and we switch over to Mach hold, and passing 60,000 we're into altitude hold mode. I think with a full load of fuel on a transatlantic flight, Concorde would traditionally stay in max climb and max cruise, sort of somewhere between 50 and 60,000 feet the whole way. But with this lighter load and shorter trip, we can comfortably hit 60,000 feet and hold Mach 2. Descent is pretty easy. We set a target speed of 250 knots and a target altitude literally of our bottom of descent of 5,000 feet. We then hit altitude acquire and vertical speed mode, and Concorde begins its descent towards our destination. We do increase the rate of descent, which is done by using the nose up and nose down switches on the lower autopilot console. Before we know it, we're passing back through Mach 1 to subsonic speeds and continuing to get lower and slower. So the cool thing about the Concorde INS in this sim being tied to the sim's flight planners and GPS is that you can actually pop up the GPS and select an arrival and an approach for your destination airport, which is then transmitted into the Concorde INS, and Concorde will fly the full approach procedure straight onto final. It's sort of a nice modern quality of life enhancement. As descent continues, we'll drop the nose to 5 degrees, and as we get closer to final, we'll slow down to the approach speed of 170 knots and also bring that nose to all the way down. We'll also drop the landing gear. As we begin our final approach, we will arm the localizer, and when the annunciator lights, we'll press the land button. That activates the glide slope and also sets us up for an auto land. We came in a bit high here, so I've also gone back into vertical speed mode and set a lower target altitude. As soon as we're below the glide slope, the land annunciator lights and we follow the 3-degree glide path down to the airport. We'll also activate autopilot 2 as you would in any airliner before an auto land. Once everything's done, we can watch the landing from 2 angles thanks to old Flight Sim 2004's replay mode. The only thing about replay mode is that you get the incorrect pull-up annunciator as you play it back. The approach is nice and stable, the touchdown is pretty smooth. Even with reversers applied, the plane takes quite a while to slow down and does hold its nose in the air for quite a long time, but I paid for whole runway, I use whole runway. And there is a successful flight in the old school Just Flight PSS Concorde Professional. It's a fantastic product. You can find it these days in second-hand stores for £5 or so. I do hope you enjoyed watching the video. If you did, please drop a like and feel free to subscribe, as I make this kind of content fairly regularly. Thank you for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.